So the day is nearly here, the day of reckoning, a date we have all been waiting for a very long time. And this is of course the release date for the main CTE patch across all platforms into Battlefield 4. Now this is a patch that's being worked on by DICE LA, and we've now been told we can expect to see its release around about early September, so hopefully less than a month away. Now if you do play on PC and have access to CTE, you will know as well as I do that this patch has brought a lot of changes to the game. We see a lot better hit detection, hit registration, netcode, and generally the whole game feels a lot sharper and a lot more responsive, so we've been wanting to see this brought across into the full game for a very long time. So this is certainly a massively important update, and I think this particular update could actually be the make or break of Battlefield 4. The game has nearly been out for a year now and is certainly far from perfect, and in that time it has lost a lot of true fans of the game and the series. But of course there are still a lot of people out there, myself included, who are hanging on and hoping that one day this game can be as enjoyable as we want it to be. So this patch has a lot riding on it. Now of course that isn't to say we expect the game to be perfect after this patch. Of course most video games do require constant tweaking and upgrading, especially when new maps and weapons are brought into the game. But if this patch doesn't absolutely nail some of the fundamental issues that have been plaguing this game since its release, then I just think a lot of people will have had enough. There is only so long you can wait out for a game to be improved. So I really do think if this patch doesn't absolutely nail it first time round, then I think a lot of people are just going to have had enough. So what can we expect to see in this patch? Well, starting off with probably the most important component, and that is of course the improvement to the netcode. Now we're going to see a reduction in trade kills, we're going to see a reduction in kills from behind cover by lowering the time allowed to do damage on client side. So basically when you dart behind cover, hopefully you'll no longer still be receiving damage and then die after you've taken cover, which is probably one of the most frustrating features in Battlefield 4. We're also going to see high frequency tick rates enforced across all platforms from 10 to 30, which again is one of the biggest game changes in these patches we've seen so far. Now of course anyone who has played CTE will tell you that these changes have made a massive improvement to the game. It feels sharper, a lot more responsive, but of course that is only on PC. Seeing all of these changes enforced across all platforms means we could still see some issues, so again, if they don't get this right first time, people are going to walk away. Now another improvement which I particularly think is a very important one is a change to player movement. Now in the patch notes it says that soldier movement will now be very closely matched to the movement we saw in Battlefield 3, which I think in layman's terms basically means you're going to be able to move a lot quicker. Of course we all know that in Battlefield 4 it just feels a lot more sluggish than it did in Battlefield 3. So it also says you will be able to get out of undesirable firefights a lot quicker, so as you know if you're getting hit and trying to get behind cover, hopefully now you will actually make it to that cover. Now alongside this, we are also seeing a huge overhaul to weapon balance. Now this isn't for one weapon in particular, but instead across all of the weapons in the game. And this is being done to try and get a much more consistent time to kill. And it's being done by a mixture of visual recoil, which I've spoke to you guys about before, the fact that now if you're firing down a sight with a laser sight or a laser attachment, the sight itself will actually move around inside the housing so there won't be as much recoil, and of course the improved tick rate. So I would say those first three changes there are probably the most important changes to really try and combat the fundamental issues of the game. But on top of those, we are getting some extra changes which, whilst they're not as important, they are still very desirable to see brought in. We're seeing the HUD triage system. Of course, this has been in CTE for quite a while now, and it's a system that allows you to see how long left you've got to revive teammates. So if you have 3 dead teammates in front of you, you can then make a judgment call on which order you need to revive them in, or if you actually even have enough time to get out of cover and make that revive. So it is a very fundamental and important piece of information that at the moment is just lacking from the game. On top of that, we're also seeing the implementation of the visual recoil, something I have spoke to you guys about before, and finally we're seeing some small changes and tweaks to vehicle balance. So overall, there are a lot of cool changes coming in this patch. But is it of course too little, too late? The game has been out now for nearly a year, and these things probably should have been correct in the game before it was released. In fact, they should have been. There's no probably about it. We don't expect a game to have massive netcode and hit detection issues when it's a first-person shooter. These are the things that actually make up the fundamental building blocks of the game, and if they're still not fixed nearly a year later, well, I'm surprised myself that I still play this title. Now, I love Battlefield 4. It's a game I play the most, but I've got to admit, I don't enjoy it as much as I do Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 2. So I am hoping, for me personally, there is a lot riding on this patch that hopefully it will improve the game. I really do enjoy CTE. The main issue is just not a lot of people play it and there isn't many maps to choose from. So seeing these changes brought into the full game hopefully will make it very enjoyable for me again. Now in the comments below, I want to hear from you. What is your opinion on this whole situation? Is it too little too late? Do you still have faith in Battlefield 4? Or maybe you've even stopped playing the game now because it's just, you know, it's too late for this title. But tell me down in the comments below what you were expecting from this patch. Do you think it could make or break the game? I personally think there is a lot riding on this patch. So in early September, we will see how people take to it. But that wraps up today's video, so if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like down below. It does massively help me out, and I really do appreciate it. And of course, leave all your thoughts and comments down below. But in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.